Level 4 is impossible to achieve. Thoughts?
Vanessa, I've been working with you a long time. I can't believe you're saying that. Because when there is a success, go on the road within your organization and show others the possibilities. When you say, you don't think it can be done here? It has been done. There is precedent here. And here are the people that are going to demonstrate how they did it and what it looks like.
Education doesn't magically go away during a recession. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Kirkpatrick podcast. It is Vanessa and Jim. Jim, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Well, before we get started, I just want to have the quick Kirkpatrick update. I'm going to make this one super quick because I'm going to get Jim unhinged on this one. First things first, the Kirkpatrick refresher course is on October 26th. So if you are bronze and or silver certified and you want to just brush up on how things have changed, how things have evolved, help create another blended evaluation plan with the support of our team, please make sure you attend the October 26th session. The Kirkpatrick community is alive, thriving, well, and we are looking for people to join. We're having some really great conversations, coffee meetups. We had a great Q&A with Jim that was very lively and refreshing. So, please make sure you join the community. And again, you do not have to be bronze certified. You asked for it. We've given it to you. We've got the Kirkpatrick templates. We're giving you the secrets and the tools that we use to start an evaluation journey and to actually evaluate programs and initiatives. So make sure you pick up that Kirkpatrick toolkit. As a reminder, there are 2 more chances in 2024 to become bronze certified. So don't let your 2024 goal of becoming certified have to move on to your 2025 vision board. There's the opportunity at the end of this month, at the end of October, to become certified, as well as one more in December. And remember, we are on the hunt for a first round of speakers for the Kirkpatrick Summit in 2025, and enrollment is open for attendance. All right, Jim.
Yes.
Level 4.
Yes.
Is impossible to achieve. Thoughts?
Vanessa, I've been working with you a long time. I can't believe you're saying that. It's not true.
Is it though?
Oh, it's not impossible. I think when some people define it in a certain way, that we have to demonstrate, we have to prove that what we have done in our training has significantly contributed to the mission of our organization. I'd say that's as close to impossible as you can get. There's just too many factors, to prove. We don't talk much about proving anything. We talk a lot about evidence, and that makes it more doable.
But my boss wants me to tell him exactly what the impact of this training program is on the business. How am I supposed to do that?
You're supposed to join the Kirkpatrick community. Is what you're supposed to do and find out some specific ways. But first you want to try and help create a mindset of your boss that the training event itself, just people showing up online or in chairs, is just not powerful enough to create much of a difference. And hopefully use some logic, about or an analogy, taking a parenting class when your kids are 4 and 2 and 1 isn't enough to get them crossing the threshold of graduation. And then say, but what we can do is we can influence it, and we can provide evidence that as we work together after the training, I think we can give you what you're really looking for.
That's interesting. So you're saying, I guess here's a good analogy that I could give to my boss, right? I mean, if I walk into the gym, just because I walked into the gym and sat through a Zumba class doesn't mean I'm going to achieve my goal of being healthier, right?
You even met with a trainer,
I know.
that gave you a free half-hour session.
And still, not meeting the goal. So it's going on the 2025 vision board.
That's right.
Now, we're being funny about this, but I hear it still very often. that people really want to measure to level 4, and they just don't see the possibility, or that, they just, like they said, they say it's impossible. What are some other, before we get to this, like helping to solve this, what are some other misconceptions about achieving level 4 that you might have heard?
Well, I've heard that it has to be numeric.
Oh.
And it's, I suppose if you work for an accounting firm or something, you can have some in sales, you can have some numbers, but we don't restrict ours to that. We say there's a lot of ways of defining success. And notice I specifically use the word success instead of level 4, because what's happening at level 1, 2, see, I'm getting all choked up about it. Excuse me. 1, 2, and 3 is about creating success for the organization and the customers, the patients, the clients, citizens, whoever is. And then that broadens the definition of what possibilities are for defining level 4 differently. Than has to be a number, has to be sales, whatever at the end, at the bitter end, did it work or not?
Mm-hmm. So how can we as practitioners realistically then set expectations of getting to level 4?
Well, I think an example is helpful to help change the mindset of someone, because someone may be a fitness buff, and you could use the example, hey, and guess what I got for my birthday present, membership. And you can easily walk them into realizing that it has to be what you do with the membership to create the result. And the results can show up in a variety of forms. Or same with someone that's an avid football, fan. Right. You could say, well, we trained them, and now it's all about either they win or lose at the end. But the answer there is what happens during the game. So any kind of a story or something that they can relate to, I think is a good start for them to say. Then you'd say, now let's take a look at our organization. It's very much the same way.
Yeah. What I think I'm hearing you say, so correct me if I'm wrong, is you find an example that the person you're speaking with can relate to. So you're not going to necessarily use the fitness. Well, that's pretty applicable to, like, most people understand that. But you might, if they're not into that, you might not use like a fitness example. If they're not, a football fan, you may not use the football analogy. But I will tell you, while you were talking, my mind started racing about the football analogy. Well, if you think about it, right, they don't just go to practice, or they just go to one practice and then they're on the team and they're on the field. They practice multiple times. They watch a lot of game tapes and things like that. They have meetings about running the plays. They have personalized one-on-one coaching. Like, there's just a whole structure. And then when they're in the game, there's supports on the sidelines. Like,
that's right.
Sorry, I'm going to go off into like another podcast episode, so let me hold that. But Danielle, if you're listening, which obviously you are, let's take that note down. Maybe a future podcast or something on our LinkedIn to talk about. But yeah, I think if you can relate to something they can relate to, it makes it a lot easier. They're not in the business of learning. So it's hard for them to relate because that's not their business. That's not their mindset.
That's right. But they may be parents. They can understand the kids growing up, or they could have a hobby. And it doesn't mean it's a successful hobby. I complete it. But all the steps along the way are the mini successes, are level 4 that are just moving towards the ultimate success, whatever it has to do with health or nutrition or family or faith, whatever it is, is broadening the definition of success and turning it into level 4. And it doesn't happen when you go to class. It's done enough.
No, not just because I went to the class, right? Like, just because you bought the fishing pole, right? Doesn't mean you're an avid fisher.
Thank you for bringing that one up.
Well, I know you do love a good fishing trip. But yeah, I think that's a really great way. I think we want to come with data and facts and all of these things. But there's different ways that you can measure, and knowing that these are all parts of
parts
of the success.
of the package of the success. Yeah, but I think the key is knowing your boss, what he or she, hopefully you know over time, casual conversation, what might trigger an understanding about there are multiple levels of success and multiple factors that go into it. And
Right.
then you got them. They get it. They may not understand our learning model, but they can get whatever is in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some strategies that you utilize to link a training or program initiative to a business outcome?
Well, one of the things is I call it, where did it all start?
Mm.
Now, I don't call it that. I just made that up. So I'm calling it right now. Where did it all start?
I'll trademark it for you.
Okay. From anything. So I know you're going to write an article. I was thinking on my walk the other day. I came up with a no, I'm just kidding. But I think that's the kind of the concept is it started with an idea, or it started with a hope, or it started with a spark.
Mm.
And that spark then, got fed over time with other people. Energy came from it, and ideas and initiative, and that's the level 1, level 2 stuff that then turned into, well, this sounds like a great idea. How can we operationalize it? Well, let's learn about it, and then let's see if we can put it into practice as a hobby, as a family, as a government agency, whatever it is.
Yeah. Often we hear from those who work in nonprofits or in sectors of, let's say, government agencies, where they feel like they don't have the ability to measure level 4 because their target is not an internal employee that they're managing. Even our consultant, right, will come to the class and, well, I provide a solution for my customer, but I don't necessarily implement the training, or I'm not around to implement. To gather that data, how can they measure when their work is done externally and it feels like it goes out the door and then you don't really see the results coming back?
Well, for instance, I worked a lot of years with the American Red Cross when I was with Indianapolis, and of course, whatever the identified people that are to benefit from that, of course, we want to do that. But in the meantime, we were looking at donations. We were looking at volunteers. We were looking at those kind of things that were the engine behind the benefits that are harder. The higher up you go, the harder it is to get hard evidence. But we look at things along the way. We're seeing our donations increasing. We're seeing more people going to get first aid training. We're seeing those kind of things that are successes based on what the Red Cross is doing at levels 1, 2, and 3. And those absolutely count as level 4 kinds of things on the way up to the ultimate intention of the mission of it.
So it's really about taking the baby steps and knowing that getting to that final end result takes all of these steps. And when you pull one of them off, it might not work without one of those. And that's getting to level 4. I see where you're going with that. I like it.
And that's what we do. We at Kirkpatrick Partners, in our certification programs and our webinars, we talk about how to really track those kind of things, don't we? And some of it is with numbers. Some of it is just taking notes, but we track those things along the way, because then we teach people how to make adjustments. Exactly what you're saying, Vanessa. Maybe this one isn't getting the traction we're looking for, so let's not try. But maybe this one is. Maybe having highlights of people that testify that I saved the life of somebody in a restaurant that was choking. I don't know that I would have if I hadn't gone through your class. Yeah. Maybe it's the testimonials, but that's what we do along the way, is we check these successes and the things that are leading to it and find out what's working. So it's a very dynamic approach rather than just a start and a finish.
So what I think is a problem for us is that because we get lumped with evaluation, we get lumped with measurement. And measurement feels like our first thought about measurement is a number. But I like what you're saying here is like testimonials and all of those things are also measurements of level 4 success. And it's understanding that measurement happens in multiple ways.
Oh, that's great.
And you're able to define that differently. And I think that's been really great with your help and others with the programs and the way that it's evolved over time is providing more of those case studies and sharing more of those success stories and sharing with others, like, here's how I thought I couldn't get to level 4. And then, I was able to get to level 4 because I reframed my own mindset.
And, I often get people going through the classes and things that say, my boss wants metrics. They don't believe in this other fluffy stuff. They want numbers. Well, the key there is looking at the interim numbers. Like, you want numbers? Here are the number of donations. Here are the number of volunteers. Here are the number of people that have attended these. Here are the number of people that are submitting stories of success. Those are numbers. They're just maybe not the final number, which is how is all this contributed to the the Red Cross or whatever it is to the mission. But you want numbers. Well, we got plenty of numbers, but they're interim numbers, as we call them, internal and external leading indicators.
Yeah. And one of the things that just popped in my head that I think maybe I would say, I don't know if I would say it so boldly, but in a lovingly way. When you send out a survey, what do you do with the numbers? Do you glance at them? But what do you really dive into? The qualitative data. We're doing a few surveys at time of recording, right? And just getting more feedback from the community and outside of our immediate community. And I know sometimes I'm looking at the numbers just for like a high level, but where I'm really spending a lot of my time is diving into the qualitative data to give myself a better story and understanding of what people are looking for.
What people are looking for. That's the key. We got to determine what they're looking for and then we can customize a survey. And Vanessa, I'm not anti-survey, but I'm anti-only survey with numbers. But I'm seeing progress. Aren't you seeing progress? I think you're saying it. We used to just look at the numbers of the courses and the threshold. If they didn't give above a 4.0, then we got to go, discipline the instructor or kick them out or, something. And it's all about thresholds. But now it's a whole lot more than that. We're using surveys and that really, if written properly, are getting much more information, aren't they, than just a threshold of a course that used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. My mind is racing in so many different ways.
It popped in. I saw it.
So many things, because this is such an important conversation, because the next question I would actually, if someone actually said to me, level 4 is impossible to measure, I would ask them how they started measuring. And chances are they started at level 1.
Yeah.
And if then it's going to be really hard to measure. You didn't build anything knowing what the end result was. I was on a call earlier today with a team member, and she said she's talking to people in the business, like analysts and this and that, and UX designers. Oh no, I was talking to Melanie. Melanie was on our podcast. She's one of our affiliates. So go back and check out her podcast episode. It was really, really good. And she goes, she's in a class now, and they're like, so people there, and there's actually not learning people in it. There's people in marketing, because the business.
What is this true?
Yeah.
Leave it to her to do.
If anyone, right? Yeah. So the reason though is because the learning department got cut. So what did they do? They gave the business to marketing. Because the learning still had to happen, right? The training still had to happen. Their people still need to be educated. Education doesn't magically go away during a recession, but your department does. And so they're in this program because now they need, they know the marketing side of things, and now they need to figure this out, right? And they said to Melanie, do people really build things without doing an analysis and a requirements gathering, an requirements document? And we're like, yeah, we really do. And it's funny because many areas of the business couldn't fathom not doing a good analysis or requirements, because that would lead to the demise, right? Like you're building a software system. You're not going to start with requirements. You're just going to say, I need the software to do this.
Right.
You're just going to go and build. You're waste time, talent, and treasure. Of course, your department's going to go. So they don't let their career or success be dependent upon someone else, right? Like they take a moment to pause and say, we need to figure out this requirements document. Now, we can always we can do it faster by, building some minimal viable products, right? But we need to start with this. It's going slow to go fast in the end. And so I think that's a very interesting piece when people will say level 4 is impossible. And I think that's exactly where it is. They're not starting at level 4, they're starting at 1 and then hoping that they get to it.
And if you have listened to any of our other podcasts, most of the time we're talking about level 3 in some fashion. And Vanessa, when you said that, Melanie said that the learning department got cut, that was the word, the learning, and then it's shuffled over to marketing. Watch out if you define yourself as just learning, or you're in a learning department, or that's how you identify yourself. Because what we're really trying to say underneath every podcast and every training that we do is we want to help encourage you and teach you how to expand your influence beyond learning into the workplace. And that's where a lot of Vanessa, you and I talk a lot about learning and performance. Tell you, learning and performance doesn't get cut nearly as often as learning does, because people are seeing you as adding practical value to the workplace and the workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to showcase that value is absolutely crucial. So, Jim, we're talking a lot about how to get to level 4. But once you're like there, it doesn't mean you're always going to stay there, right? Okay. So how can we sustain our success and ensure that we are still achieving level 4 outcomes?
There's a TV show I watch once in a while. It's called Antique Roadshow.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they bring in a vase or something, and they try to determine the value. Well, the word roadshow comes to me with these things, because when there is a success, go on the road within your organization and have the people that contributed to it on the learning side, on the doing side, have them put together a very compelling story with witnesses and testimonies and data, and show others the possibilities. When you say, you don't think it can be done here? It has been done. There is precedent here. And here are the people that are going to demonstrate how they did it and what it looks like. And then others will say, wow, it is possible here. Because you know how big people want examples from their own company, their own organization. They don't really like, case studies from outside of it, because they're different than us. Get precedent and go on the road and spread the joy and the love of what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where too, ensuring you're not closing a feedback loop so that you can do that improvement, right? It's number one, sharing your success stories, because you are a special snowflake like everybody else. And then also making sure you're continuously, you're looking at true continuous improvement. As things change, people change, requirements change, and you're never done. You never get to, I don't foresee you ever get to level 4 with a program or initiative, and then it's always going to, do what you want it to do. There's always going to be things that you need to go back and monitor and adjust, maybe.
Would you do me a favor, and everybody listening to this, would you talk about your concept of a community of evaluation, or just the whole concept of community, and how your thoughts about that, because that's your stuff.
So I do a lot of conversations with Jim about this idea of a culture of evaluation and
culture. Yes, that too.
yeah, well, culture and community, right? They have to go
Right,
hand in hand.
right. That's
Um,
it.
and part of the problems that we face is that we want to do evaluation in a silo. And we part of being bilingual is ensuring the someone else is going to understand what it is that you're saying, right? And one of the challenges I see is the fact that we're all doing measurement differently. Like everyone measures what they're doing. Everyone's doing it differently.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to actually retract that. Maybe not everybody is measuring, but the goal is that everyone is measuring, right? Because you have to know what works and what doesn't. And I don't think that you can get there without implementing a culture of evaluation where we are going to evaluate and we are going to, ensure that what we're doing is achieving results. But in order to do that, I need everyone to know that this is, we're all in this, we're all having that conversation. We may fall back, we may slide back on our way up to the ultimate result.
Yeah.
But that's where we need to look at, okay, why are we sliding back? And take a look and do a little check to see where do we need to adjust things. And it may be a simple little tweak that needs to be done, right? And it may have nothing to do with the learning. So if, customer complaints are coming in again, right? That was a leading indicator, reduced customer complaints, and they're coming back up. That's where we need to look at, okay, what's happening in the ecosystem? And maybe it's just as simple as, oh, we didn't even realize that this widget was down. Maybe we need to, restore it or something like that. So I think that if we can, the only way we can do that is if we're constantly looking and constantly checking and constantly evaluating. And I think we don't have to worry about it feeling laborious because we are in a time now where we can use the technology to support us to be where we cannot always be. And then we can come back in and take a look or have, a reminder. I can't tell you how much more productive I am in a meeting because I have my otter there taking my meeting notes. So I'm not sitting there. I still have my notebook and pen. Like that doesn't go away. The physical stuff doesn't go away. But now what I'm writing is not everything. And it's just, at any key point that I want to make sure that I remember, that maybe, for some, maybe my otter didn't think it was important. So it did not, necessarily notate it. Right. It's there as a tool to aid us, but it's not going to replace us. And so with that, I'm now able to be, it feels like in more places at once. So I can take that data and now more quickly identify where I need to make some adjustments so I can get us back on track.
Okay, I'm going to lean in real close here, okay? Everybody see me? What I suggest you do, and I believe there's a capability of rewind this to where I started asking the question about community and culture and kind of thing, and listen carefully and stop it at different times. Because Vanessa, you just gave a whole bunch of really good things that summarizes what Kirkpatrick is and what good learning and performance is. So I suggest you rewind that, and because there were so many things, I just couldn't keep up with it. So
your otter wasn't here this time.
It was all there. A lot of it was really good.
All right. Well, with that, friends, we definitely have to bring a culture evaluation to you. And if you're interested in getting help at achieving level 4, please reach out. We don't just do certification programs. We do a lot of great work with consulting and impact studies. We want to make sure that we can help you. With that, friends, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.